This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 300 programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Welcome to the CJ Moneyway Show podcast, the podcast show where we unlock potential one dream at a time. Today, we have another guest whose journey is truly worth hearing. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the Moneyway experience.
Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack use code, CJ at shopmando.com, SHOPMANDO.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando.
What's up, my good people? Welcome to the CJ Moneyway Show in association with Believe Network, the podcast that brings you stories behind the success. Welcome to the show today, Dianna K, author of the new hit book, Becoming More. You can't get to better until you get to different. It's an honor to have you on the show today, Dianna. How you doing?
Oh, it's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great, and I trust you are as well.
Oh, yeah. But you see, normally people, when I can't pronounce their last name, they say, I see you didn't try to pronounce my last name, CJ. No, I'm not going to even try to touch that one. So Dianna, tell us a little bit about yourself and about your background and what has shaped your journey to where you are today.
Well, as far as the journey that I've been on, it's been a fun one. And the way you say my name, nobody can say it. Literally, it's Kokoszka. So don't worry a bit about that. It's all good. Now, I started working when I was at age 5 at our local grocery store with my mom and dad who owned it. And being a very small town, I was able to work there at the magazine rack, then went to the checking groceries out. And who would have ever thought that would have taken me all the way to get into real estate, selling over 4,000 homes, and then going to be CEO of MAPS Coaching and Training at Keller Williams Realty International, which is the largest real estate company in the world right now. So it's been a ride. It's been fun. And I've had my challenges along the way, knowing that we've always got to become more, which is why I love the name of the book. Because if you're not becoming more, well, I guess you're becoming less because there's no in between, right? Nobody stays the same.
Yeah, that's true. Man, you say at the age of 5, well, I need to be quiet. I always tell people, I've been working since I was 16. She's been working since she was 5 years old. That is awesome. So, talking about Becoming More, your book, Becoming More, is making waves. Tell us what inspired you to write it and the key message you hope for readers to take away from it.
Well, I appreciate you asking that question because I've got to tell you, I didn't really want to write a book. I had written a program back in 2008 and 9. We were going through, some people said a depression. Other people said it was just tough on the economy, right? And in the real estate industry, it was very tough. About 90% of the offices that Keller Williams were involved in were losing money and 10% were making money. And the president of the company called me in and they said, Dianna, you've been saying that you've watched the numbers and we're going into a really bad depression. And I want you to write a program. Don't tell anybody about it. Just go write it because you've been through these types of markets before. And let's take it out there to the agents and help them. Well, I've always wanted to add value to other people. So, of course, I started writing and just was very inspired to call it BOLD, Business Objective, A Life by Design. And it was the first program to bring mindset to real estate sales. Well, it started helping people. And the interesting part about it is people started saying, Dianna, please write a book. And I'd say, I don't want to write a book. I had over 80,000 cards and letters that, thank you, you changed my life. And I got to tell you, I know I'm not that good. I did not change anybody's lives. Maybe the thoughts, maybe the words, maybe what I had taught them helped them, yet they had to make the decision to change their life. Because when we're born, we take on the looks of our parents, yet when we die, we look like our decisions, right? And so it was their decision to change. And as they would ask me, please write a book, I'd say, no. Finally, I received a text one night. I was down on the dock. We live on Lake Travis here in Texas. And I was just reading and a text came through that said, thank you for changing my life. And hey, when are you going to write a book? Well, I thanked them for their kind words. And I said, no, I don't think I'll write a book. And I turned the page of the book that I was reading and it said John F. Kennedy's quote, if not us, who? And if not now, when? And that just hit me. I thought, well, maybe that's my answer. Maybe I do need to write a book, right? And so I started picking up the pen and getting out my legal pad and just starting to write. And as I started, this model came to me about how our brain works and how the current story of our life doesn't need to be the story that we end with. That whatever or wherever we're at, whatever we've been through, it doesn't matter. That's in the past. Today's a new day. So why don't we write a new story? There's too many people out there that are letting other people hold the pen and writing the story of their life, and they're living this life by default instead of a life that they've designed. When people realize that they are the main character of their story, more importantly, they're the co-creator of their story, and they've got to be the crusader and the champion of that story. Because every story has a victim, they have a villain, they have a hero. And I want people to become the hero of their own life story, which they can do by following the models in the book.
Yeah, I like that. And then I like the fact, too, where you said, well, I didn't change all them people's lives. Maybe it was some things that I said that, inspired them. Because it's one thing that I'm working on right now. And, like you say, when you flip the page to John F. K. and you saw that quote, you gave me confirmation, too, is that a lot of times we just planting seeds, Diane.
Yeah.
You planted a lot of seeds, and once you plant them, you don't know where they go, who's going to grow and who's not. But it sounds like you planted 80,000 seeds, and that's a lot of seeds to plant.
Well, who's going to water them too, right? Because the seeds we plant in our mind, like Earl Nightingale said, the seeds you plant in your mind and water are the ones that are going to grow. And aren't you finding that so many people out there, they're just planting seeds of doubt? In my book, I talk about the 4 storytellers that live in our mind. And one, well, it's the devious storyteller. It tells us that we're no good, that we're not good enough, that we don't deserve things, that, oh, goodness, you'll never make it. You're too short. You're too tall. You're too skinny, whatever it tells us. Yeah. And we start believing those limiting beliefs. Then there's the flattering storyteller that says, oh, you don't need to listen to anybody else. You got this all figured out. Nobody else can help you with your life. Then there's the reasonable storyteller. It's the one that scares me the most. The one that gives us reasons and excuses for where we are in our life. And it allows us to accept those excuses, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the one I love. It's the empowering storyteller. And that's the one I want to bring alive. And as they work through the models in the book, and there's some exercises at the end of the chapters that they can go through, It literally allows them to truly understand the way that they're limiting themselves and that they have the opportunity to liberate themselves, to go from a limiting mindset to a liberating, from limiting beliefs to liberating, from limiting words that they use in the vocabulary to liberating. Each chapter helps us in some way retrain our brain to a new way of thinking.
So before we go any farther, we're talking about the book, and before I forget, where can we find the book and where can we find you on social media?
Well, we can find it on Amazon or the dynamicgrowth.com. We sell it there. I'm telling you, Amazon's probably going to be the fastest for you. They do have that one down. They've done a good job. Plus, if you're a Prime member, well, you're not going to be charged for shipping. And I love to save people money. More importantly, I love to add value to people, just like you do with your podcast. Each and every podcast, you add so much value to people. And you know, at 7 a.m., my alarm on my phone goes off and it says, what will you do to add value to people today? And at 7 p.m., it goes off and it says, what did you do to add value to people today? And I want to thank you for allowing me to maybe add some value as we go through parts of the book or just talk about life in general. Because too many people out there are anxious, they're under stress, they're worrying, they're living in fear. I just want to liberate them and let them learn to live in faith and in joy and in gratitude, because they deserve so much more than what they give themselves credit for.
You know, I appreciate you, Diane, and I like that method that you said. You say you wake up every morning, 7 a.m., it goes off, what did you do to make a difference? 7 p.m., it goes off, what did you do to make a difference? That's something that I'm going to put it, because, you know, at 6 o'clock in the morning every day, mine go off too, but it says shortcuts. I don't know how I got on there, whatever, but you just gave me an idea. What are you going to do today to inspire others? And I appreciate your kind comments too, as well. So, Diane, you have been a part of the John Maxwell leadership team, a highly respected group in the leadership world. What is that experience like, and how has it influenced your approach to leadership and personal growth?
I'm so glad that you asked that question. I've been so blessed. John has been a mentor of mine for 28 years from the time I met him. And not just a mentor that I've read his books and taken some classes. He's been a mentor that, well, when I first met him, I got to tell you, he was signing books. And of course, he's saying, what's your name? And I go, stop. And I put my hand over the book and I go, look at me. I said, you said you were John and you're my friend. Now, this was back in the 1990s, right? He said, yes. And I said, well, look at me. I'm Dianna and I will become one of your friends, that where I actually have your cell phone number and we talk. And he just kind of laughed and we went on. Well, let me tell you, it took me a few times. Each and every time, though, I'd go, stop. Remember, I'm Dianna, and I will become one of your best friends. And eventually, I did get his cell phone number, and we talked quite a bit. And now we're doing a mentorship program together, where I brought 38 people, very small group. I love small groups. And I give a call with them, and John gives a call. We just finished up a couple of days in Florida and West Palm Beach with John and doing Q&A and setting up for the rest of the year what he's going to pour into us. And I've got to tell you, the things I've learned from this man, like you have, the principles, the things that we learn about commitment, about casting vision, making certain that our people are all in unity, because until we are united, we're not going to make a whole lot of progress, right? And studying other people. He has a program going right now where it's a master class that he's bringing us and allowing us to meet with people like Ed Bastian and Nito Cobain and Kevin Turner, who's the only man that worked with Sam Walton and Bill Gates. I mean, he's introduced me to so many people. Now, the last thing I'm going to tell you, been the best, is I've been able to travel with him and his team to many countries, meeting with presidents and prime ministers, about getting values into the schools. Now, they've been in Guatemala, been there for 10 years. And of course, it's in the schools, and they take values like math. It is an actual class. They learn values, they implement the values, then they lead with values. And now in high school, he's got a leadership class that they can get involved in. And the best part about this, like I said, I've been all over the world, Papua New Guinea, Guatemala, Paraguay, Brazil, Dominican Republic, Costa Rica, many places. Yet I'm more excited because it's now here in the States. South Carolina has it in schools. Texas just voted to get it in within the next 2 years in every school across Texas. And they will be taught values right in the schools. And when we get good values in our kids, the bullying will go down, the suicide rate will go down. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, that is exciting. And there's some things that we need, or whatever. So I'm glad that you guys doing that. I know one thing from John Maxwell. I love the John Maxwell the study Bibles. I mean, it's just so, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Matter of fact, I had a gray one, and I tore that thing off the hinges or whatever, when the cover come off of it, you just got the pages. That's how much I was into that. Hey, but speaking of books, because I think I read something and I just want to ask you, how was it to have John to do the forewords of your book?
Oh, my word. I mean, well, you can imagine it was a dream come true. And when I read that foreword, I actually cried. I just went, who is this lady you're talking about? I want to meet her. He made me sound so much better than I am. I got to tell you, I'm just like all the rest of us. We've all sinned. We've all done bad things. We've all done good things. But boy, he definitely made me look pretty doggone good. And just the fact that he would take his time to do that, as busy as he is, meant a lot. He's been traveling. I talked to his pilot the other day. We were in Birmingham right after West Palm. We all flew to Birmingham, and he was speaking there. And I said, so how many days have you been traveling up in the air with John? And he goes, well, he said there has been 18 days for the last 3 months, 18 days out of the month. And he said he'll do like 2 or 3 presentations in one day. Get on the plane, fly to the next location, be back up early the next day, doing 3 more presentations. He's amazing with the energy that he has and the places that he's going. He so desires to help people. And his new book, High Road Leader. And then he added the book, Jesus, the High Road Leader. Come on. You don't get better than that, right?
Yeah. Like I say, I love the John Maxwell Study Bible. It's awesome. And when I read that about him doing the foreword for your book, I thought that was awesome too. Just to have a connection with somebody like that and that thinks of you enough to do something like that is, accomplishment and something in itself. So,
I just said I'm so blessed to know him and have him as a friend.
I can imagine. Like you say, I'm rubbing elbow. Well, we know what the Bible says. It say that your gifts and your talents will put you before great men. And so being that 5-year-old girl, like you said, who would have ever imagined that life at that time would have just took me from here. You name countries that I can't even pronounce in places that you have been. So that's awesome, man. I'm proud for you. And I hope that this book, does exactly what God has set out for it to do. So let me ask you a question, Dianne. I've read that you was an award-winning entrepreneur. Can you share more about your journey in entrepreneurship and what led to your success? And a sub-note question, what are the pros and cons of being a CEO?
Well, I appreciate that question because I think a lot of people have an entrepreneurial spirit. And as like Michael Gerber said, a lot of people, they quit their job to be an entrepreneur and all they're doing is having an entrepreneurial seizure. They're no more prepared to go into business than fly to the moon. We've got to prepare ourselves. And so you say, when did you become an entrepreneur? Well, my mother was she was great at so many things. I can't even imagine. I won the lottery when it came to parents, that's for sure. And she taught me how to twirl the baton. And so what I would do when I wasn't working at the store and going to school is I bought batons, went to the 5 and dime store, and they were like 29 cents. And then you could put pennies in one side of them, glue the pennies in to balance the baton, because balance batons, oh my goodness, they were like $19 and I couldn't afford those. So I bought these little batons, made them, and I gave baton lessons for $1 a month. Now that's when I was 8. Now, as I kept going, I learned that I could make necklaces, I could do things, and I could charge people. I started doing classes. I would do whatever I could to make a little bit of extra money, right? My parents had a big setback. My brother, we discovered, had a brain tumor back in the day. They didn't really know about the brain like they do now. And they had no health insurance. And it literally set them back so far that Mom and Dad sat us down and said, kids, whatever you want, you're going to have to spend your own money for. You want to buy clothes, you want, food and rent. Hey, you're here, you're at the house, we'll take care of you that way, but you got to do everything else. And it was a blessing. First, I was going, oh, poor woe is me, my friends don't have to do that. But it was a blessing because it taught us to be an entrepreneur, to figure out how not only to make money and to keep it, how to save it so you could use it when you needed it, right? Or have it when you needed it. And then I went into real estate. I wasn't doing real well at the beginning. I'd just gotten out of college and I had kids and I couldn't afford a babysitter when I got into real estate. So I put my kids in a little red wagon and went door to door because my mom and dad had taught me, if you have a goal, there's going to be a price you have to pay for that goal. There's a toll booth at every goal. Are you willing to pay the toll? And I thought, I can't afford a babysitter, so let's go. And we'd go out in the morning and then we'd stop and have lunch at a park or something. And I'd go back in that little red wagon. They got to meet friends. Some of the ladies would say, oh, have your kids stay here while you knock on the doors. I mean, I just kept getting blessing after blessing after blessing and figuring it out. If I were to make it work, how would I make it work? Instead of saying I can't, I said, if I were to do it, how would I do it? And so I think that's number one, entrepreneurship. If you were to do it, how would you do it? Secondly, you're going to have roadblocks. Are you willing to pay the price to go through the roadblocks? Think about some of the roadblocks you're going to have and then write down what you'll do so you be prepared for them. The third thing is keep track of your money. Now, I didn't do a good job of that at one point. I did it first because I didn't have any. And then I started making a lot of money. I sold 104 homes my first year. The average agent was selling 5. See, nobody ever told me you couldn't sell 100 homes, so I just thought it was natural.
Yeah.
I had sold home care products. I sold 100 bottles of home care products over and over again, so why not houses? Talk to enough people. So you've got to get your name out there. You've got to do your marketing. You got to be able to talk to people if you're an entrepreneur. Figure out how to make it work so you're constantly adjusting. Another thing I want to tell people is go for it. Take a little bit of a risk. You're going to fail. You're going to learn something, you'll implement, and you will fail. Just see that as another learning experience. Learn a new way, implement it, fail, learn a new way. And it's just this constant circle that you go around. Learn, implement, fail. A lot of people just want to learn. We're addicted to information and allergic to implementation. So you can think all you want. You've got to pick it up and do something with what you've learned. and then realize you can just readjust and keep going. You want to succeed? Go fail a lot. That would be my recommendation.
CJ Moneyway X Mando, the freshness upgrade, fellas. Let's be real. Have you ever had that moment where you catch yourself wondering, do I smell fresh right now? Yeah, we've all been there. But let me put you on to the game changer. Mando Whole Body Deodorant. I've been using Mando for a minute now, and let me tell you, this isn't your regular deodorant. This is next level freshness, not just for underarms, but for your whole body. It's smooth, lightweight, aluminum free, and keeps you smelling like success all day. Whether I'm grinding in the studio, handling business, or out making moves, Mando keeps me fresh, dry, and confident. Let's be honest, your balls, your chest, your back, everything deserves the same level of care. And Mando, it's built for that. And because Mando is rocking with the CJ Moneyway Show, they're hooking up my listeners with an exclusive deal. Right now, new customers get $5 off a starter pack. That's over 40% off when you use the code CJ at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. Please support our show and let them know we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier. Boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando Whole Body Deodorant. Mando, the whole body deodorant for men who move different. Go get yours today.
Yeah, I know exactly how that feels. But like you say, you implement, then you feel like, okay, adjust here, you learning things on the fly here and there. So yeah, I get that. And yeah, trust me, I get that. So let me ask you, Dianne, a big part of your message is about individuals becoming creators, as you mentioned earlier, crusaders and champions of their own narrative. How can people actively take charge and shape their own stories?
Okay, this is such a great question. Because see, let's just take everything begins with the story that you're in right now. You've got to be able to let go of the past and figure out where you want to go. It's like getting in your car. If you wanted to drive somewhere, well, you know where you want to go. You put into the GPS system the destination, and then you drive there. You don't just get in your car and drive around, right? So we got to know where we'd like to go. And in the book, I say, it's going to sound real creepy, yet write your eulogy. What do you want to have people say about you when your time on this earth is finished? And when you read that eulogy, then narrow it down to a couple of sentences. Like, I did that. It took me a while to really get it down. It was to make a difference and add value to people. That's what I want to be known for. And so every day, get up and let's do that, right? It starts with the thought. Do you believe that you can do it? See, we have limiting thoughts and liberating thoughts. And that thought, whatever it is that we say over and over and over again in our brain, becomes a limiting belief. And that's a big stall out for a lot of people, because in a limiting belief, first of all, let's think about a limiting belief. A limiting belief are invisible chains that hold you back from reaching your full potential. And each one of us, we've built this cage in our life. It's a cage where the thoughts are the bars of the cage, and inside the cage is our comfort zone. And everything that we want in life is outside our comfort zone. We have uphill goals with downhill habits, as my mentor John Maxwell says, right? And so we've got to really think about those internal narratives that we have, like, I can't do it. I don't have what it takes to do it. I'm not good enough. And then once we look at those, we identify them, and we got to challenge them. And we challenge them by asking ourselves some questions. Is it true? Is it 100% true? Who would I be if I stopped believing that? And what would I be able to do if I stopped believing that? And then, of course, we have to reframe those limiting beliefs to liberating beliefs. And that's where I give it in the book. I go, if this is your limiting belief, this is how you liberate it. We write out affirmations and declarations, and we say those. I say them every time that you eat, right? And things like, one of mine is, what I think about myself is what I will become. So I believe the very best of myself. Another one is, I am a great leader, always adding value to other people. Because see, when we say that to our brain over and over again, we start believing it. We're actually training our brain to a new way of thinking. And that's important that we do it. And then we have to take action. We actually have to maybe keep a victory log of the times that we've literally gone from limiting beliefs to liberating beliefs. And then make certain that we overcome setbacks, because we're going to have them. Now, when I said it first, the way that we think and we have the thought over and over again becomes a belief. It's much like walking across the grass. When you walk across a patch of grass, guess what? No big deal. You walk across it over and over and over again, you make a rut. The grass goes away. Well, that's what happens in our brain. We have a thought, no big deal. We have a negative thought over and over and over again. We get hardwired that way. Neuroscience says nerve cells that fire together, wire together. It's like you've made a path in your brain, and it's the only way your brain wants to go. The greatest part, though, is neuroscience says what no longer fires together, no longer wires together. Therefore, we can change that route that we take, much like the grass. You don't walk across it anymore. Guess what? The grass starts growing back, and now you have a new path to take. Your brain can do that. And you trained your brain to think the way it is right now. You can retrain your brain to a new way of thinking, to a liberated one that takes those limiting beliefs and puts beliefs in you to where you can accomplish most anything that you desire.
I like that. And I think that the thing that you saying, I think this might tie into this next question. You speak about the 4 energies of success.
Okay.
Can you elaborate on what these energies are and how individuals can develop them to achieve their goals?
Oh, I love that you brought that up, because I love energy. In fact, I was known at Keller Williams for energy, for the energy that I have and the encouraging energy that I really desire to portray, right? Well, I took physics in college. I love physics and math, and which is funny why I wrote a book, because I'm not that good at English yet. Energy, I worked in the physics lab. Do you know that when you take anything and put under a high-powered microscope, that it shows that everything is 99.99999% energy and 0.00001% particle. That means we're more nothing than something, right?
Yeah.
So people, they want this business card. And yet I've got to tell you, your energy is broadcasting out to other people in a way that they feel your energetic calling card much faster than you can ever hand them a business card, for heaven's sakes. Your energy is like a broadcasting station. And much like on a radio, if you're tuned in to 105.9, you're going to hear certain music. And if you turn into 98.5, you're going to hear something different. You can't be on 98.5 and expect to hear what's on 105.5, right? Like the remote of our television. And man, you can change the channel. That's all energy. You are just like that remote. Nobody has to push your buttons, however, sometimes they do. And guess what? Your energy comes out. I got to ask the people that are listening or watching this, what kind of energy are you transmitting out? You see, I also learned that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred or transformed. And you are transferring energy with your smile. You're transferring energy. Well, let me ask you, have you ever found somebody that is so negative And as they're walking towards you, you already feel and you don't want anything to do with them, right?
You hate to see them coming. Like, I hate to see them coming. Like,
I know. It's like, no, dear God, help them. Dear God, help them, help them. And as they get closer and closer, you're going, oh, dear God, help me, help me, help me. Because but see, there's 4 energies I have found that help our success. One is the energy of confidence. When someone is confident, it just shows up. You know that they know what they're talking about. The energy of gratitude. Oh, this is one that everybody can have. And yet so many people push it away by complaining, being negative. And I love what Oprah Winfrey said. She said, you complain, you just find more to complain about. And you show gratitude and find things to be grateful for, and you'll find more things to be grateful for. In fact, so many things will come into your life. And that woman, when you think about Oprah, she is someone that has literally become the character, the main character of her life. She has been the champion. She has been the crusader. She has been the creator. Because her grandmother, as she hung clothes, said to Oprah, now watch me, honey. Watch how I hang these clothes, because someday you're going to be doing this. And Oprah thought to herself, like, heck, I'm never going to do that. They wanted her to change her name to Susie when she was on television, because nobody would remember Oprah. And I'm going, the whole world knows Oprah. Are you kidding me? And so, she's a perfect example of confident, grateful energy. You've got to be in the present moment. She's always in the present moment. And when you're in the present, that is where the true gift of life comes from. Because, see, you become aware in the present moment. And awareness is the first step to change. So if you want to change your life, you've got to stay in the present. Don't live in the past. That's like working to drive, looking in your rear view mirror, right? And we can't be looking at the future all the time, because then we're just a daydreamer, not getting much done. So being in the present is a great energy. The last energy that I want to speak about is the optimism. When you're positive, I have a mantra that I say all the time. Everything is always working out for me. And you know what? When the planes are late or things aren't working, like today, working on that camera and microphone to actually work, you were so patient and you were so kind. And I just kept saying, everything always works out for me. I'll get it going here. And we did.
Yeah.
Yet we got to have that energy. Limiting energies are things like fear, worry, being nervous, being depressed, dissatisfied, anxious, stress, complaining, being irritated, and having self-doubt. Those are all energies that limit us. Yet let's think of the opposite of those, the energies that liberate us. And this is all in the book. Joyful, grateful, confident, passionate, approval of other people, intentional, responsibility, optimistic, resilient, and creative. All of those things. And oops, it looks like my camera just went back off again, which I love that. And as long as you can hear me, that's the greatest part, because let's face it, I sound a whole lot better than I look. So we're just going to keep going.
You look pretty good, Diane. I ain't going to hold you up. You look pretty good. I only have a couple more questions for you anyway. So, cultivating a mindset of growth, positivity, abundance, and gratitude is viable for long-term success. What practical steps would you recommend for the listeners to develop and maintain such a mindset?
Oh, that is so good. I'm so glad you asked that question. Congratulate and encourage others on their progress towards success. It's not always about us. Engage in volunteer work actually helps your mindset of gratitude, because we're focusing and being service to others. Write notes, make gratitude calls. Every day I work on either writing 5 thank you notes to someone or texting 5 people saying how grateful I am for their being in my life. And if you recognize everything as a gift, oh my goodness, that makes it such a big difference. And the last thing I believe that they can do, and this doesn't cost them any money, is I'd say take a gratitude walk. As you think about things that you're thankful for, maybe even walking to the coffee machine, think of 3 or 4 things you're thankful for. And then on the way back to your desk, give gratitude for those 3 or 4 things. You cannot be negative and grateful at the same time. You cannot be anxious or worried or stressful and grateful at the same time. So gratitude helps our health. It helps our wallet. It helps us in every area of our life.
I like that. It can't be all, either what it say that if you're going to be fearful, I forgot how that analogy went, but I like the nuggets that you throwing out there as far as you can't be negative and grateful at the same time. It's going to overshadow the other one. So,
right.
So yeah, I get that. So Dianne, just one more question. Like I said, I appreciate you coming on, taking the time out your day to day and dropping these nuggets on us. I really enjoyed you. But before we wrap up, Dianne, if there's one key piece of advice or takeaway you'd like to leave with our audience, what would it be?
It's a great question. I would say recognize that you have a gift. God gives every one of us a gift and a talent. And it's up to us to open that gift, multiply that gift and talent, and give it back to others. Yet, don't let anyone tell you that you don't have a gift. Don't let anyone take your greatness away from you, because I believe in taking a stand for people's greatness more than they will stand for their limitations. It's inside of you. Don't let anybody tell you who you are. You are, I don't care if you believe in God or not, that's your prerogative. Yet to me, you are a child of God, and He has made you wonderfully made. And therefore, just become all you can be.
Hey, you heard it here on the CJ Moneyway Show. Dianne K. say, be all you can be. Go grab the book, Becoming More, from Dianne K. Gonna be a #1 bestseller. Hey, you have been listening to the CJ Moneyway Show with your boy CJ Moneyway. We out of here. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the CJ Moneyway Show. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends, leave a comment, and drop a review. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday and Friday for more inspiring journeys. Who knows? Your story might be next.